What is the reason? Let the people explore the night. Repeated exclaims. Bones all over the floor or weird sounds. But unfortunately, that's not the reason. But because of the Florida swamp, there's an army of cold-blooded killers out there. That's all kinds of snakes. They're taking over the swamp, decimating the local animal population. And they've eaten it by now. More than 90% of the local small mammals. They don't have any predators here. So the government of Florida, a reward has been issued to fight the snakes. Attracted many people to hunt. But pythons aren't the only threat. After a month of struggle, and now the hunters. Last days in the swamp. But there are two important tasks before we leave. Bill called Bruce and Zach. They need to catch a deadly new snake. And that's a cross between a Burmese snake and a rock python. It has the advantage of two snakes. The aggression of the rock python and the adaptability of the Burmese python, making it a high-end predator. It makes the situation there very bad. But the good news is this hybrid snake. It looks similar to rock pythons and Burmese pythons. Hunters are easy to spot and launched a continuous harassment campaign against them. Then the three men set out. And 35 miles north, Troy and Chase are taking a detour to catch snakes, to help remote areas that are threatened. And that threat is the crocodile. Turns out Troy found out it was a crocodile. I felt so friendly and came as soon as I could, to help the residents and the children. And their goal is to destroy. It's a rogue gang of crocodiles. Troy to better understand the situation. The local people were asked first. And the incredible thing is, crocodiles have spread all over the river. Two people after understanding. I'm going to lay out a few lines first. See if we can catch a giant crocodile, and the three on the other side, looking for that bastard snake. If we don't get rid of it, that would make it possible to breed even more ferocious snakes, and rapidly destroying the local ecosystem. But I haven't seen any hybrid snakes yet. Three people are in trouble. That's the abandoned vehicle in front of you. This forced them to get out of their cars and walk. But while everyone was still looking at the old car, there was a strange noise nearby. On closer inspection, it turned out to be a python. The two men immediately approached the containment. Zach then pulled the snake back. But the snake ignored Zach and went straight for Bruce. Then he went after a dedicated photographer. Zach was watching Bill while the snake was watching. He grabbed his head in his hands. And this python is not yet honest. Keep trying to wrap Zach's hand around it, but it forgot the two people next to it, with the python under full control. Just put in a bag. And the bravery of this snake. It made Zach think it was the bastard snake. But unfortunately, this one is not. It's a standard Burmese python. This made Zach feel a little disappointed. Then the crowd left. And Troy and Chase on the other side. The search has begun for the crocodile. I hope they haven't forgotten how to catch crocodiles. Good thing it's in Florida. Crocodiles are allowed on private property, as long as there's a government-issued tag. That's when Troy finds a crocodile trail. Could be in constant progress. Troy found another one. It made his heart lift. I had no idea there were so many crocodiles here. Soon the two arrived. The first trap that was laid. Troy felt light as he pulled on the rope. But the good thing about this trap is the alligator. Looks like Troy's hands are a little rusty, although this crocodile is struggling. But it didn't help at all. While pulling the first haul of the day into the boat, it turned out to be a 10-foot alligator. But in the future, it will not be able to threaten the local population. Can be inserted after the label. Troy found two crocodiles, and very close to the trap. Chase saw this and took off for it. But after getting close, the crocodile dives back into the water. And he tied the rope around the stake. Troy saw this and began to untie the rope. But the crocodile is not a martial arts attack. Good thing Troy moved fast, but the rope let him out. Gives Troy a chance to tie it down. After sending it to heaven, turns out it's also a 10-foot alligator. This immediately allowed the two to reproduce the rate of crocodiles, feeling more fearful and worried. It's 35 miles south. Bruce is looking for hybrid snakes. But now he's hunting alone. You have to be extra careful with everything here. And the reason he hunted alone, it's because Zach wants to cover more ground. Maybe we can find the hybrid snakes. Suddenly, Bruce started running. Turns out 2 pythons were found. Bruce had 2 of your snakes in his hands. Kept calling the other 2, but there was no response for half a day. I even almost got bit by a snake. Fortunately, the 2 made it here. I didn't leave Bruce alone with 2 pythons. Zach even took advantage of the snake's approach to Bruce. He caught both pythons with a single hand. This took Bruce by surprise. I almost lost my dentures. After putting 2 pythons in a bag, Bruce sealed the mouth of the bag right away. Although these 2 snakes are not hybrids, but it also brought hundreds of bucks of fun to the hunters. Zach even thought. Fortunately, the 2 snakes were caught. Otherwise, they might even produce a nest of snake eggs. After hanging up the bag, the search for the hybrid snake continued. And to the north, Troy and Chase, and searching for giant crocodiles. And there are traps all over the front. We're able to get them onto the boat, although none of them are giant crocodiles. But their numbers are a problem. Then Troy saw the crocodile had taken the bait. He got close and pulled the crocodile straight out of the water. And look at the size. Look at the dead crocodile. Troy was very happy. The 2 men then pulled the crocodile into the boat. I couldn't pull it in the middle of it to keep the crocodile from falling into the water. Chase brought the boat to shore. This will prevent the crocodile from falling, so Chase can lift it onto the boat. And this nearly 13-foot alligator gets on board. It also means that the children here can play in peace. Now the 2 can also divert their attention. Went looking for that bastard snake. Zach and Bruce at the same time. After putting the old snake in the car, the 2 men searched again for the hybrid snake and into the perfect hiding place for snakes. After an hour of searching here, finally saw the shadow of a snake. They ran away immediately. But when Zach came running back, but the snake had already crawled into the water. It was gone in a flash. This made Zach very upset. Why didn't he do it faster? The 2 had no choice but to call it quits. Soon the next day will come. It was also their last day of snake hunting. Troy and Chase came back just then to catch that hybrid snake. They were all together again to catch this bastard snake. Bill decided to do it the old way. That is to divide the team into 3 teams. For maximum coverage, after the split, Zach will be the Lone Ranger. Troy and Chase are in a terrain vehicle, and Bill and Bruce set off in the ATV. 2 miles from the rendezvous, Bruce and Bill begin the official search. Then the 2 men found a large snake. The inside just flew by, but the snake was already halfway into the tree. Good thing Bill caught the snake tail. Otherwise, I would have missed the python. Fortunately, the cunning snake was finally caught. Otherwise, this snake will continue to wreak havoc here. The snake is not honest even when it is caught. Hissing and hissing, warned the 2 to stay away. Then they took the good snake with them, ran back to the car, and sealed it. Although this snake is very brave, and cut both of them open. But this is not a hybrid snake. And Zach on the other side, looking for a hybrid snake on his own, even if it's harder to catch. But Zach has a lot of confidence in himself. Then Zach saw a boa constrictor, just abandoned the car and ran. As soon as he got close, he grabbed the snake tail in his hand. But the snake seemed to lose his temper, and he kept biting at Zach. At last, the snake had a quick brain. I thought that grass was Zach, or the photographer will step forward. Got the attention of this python. After bagging the snake, Zach just left, and 2 miles to the west, Troy and Chase is maintaining a high level of concentration. That's when Troy asked Chase to stop the car. He wanted to look around first. After a fruitless search, they were just about to leave. Chase found a snake. After calling Troy, he flew right over there. Can be after running to the position. But there was no sign of the snake. This Chase stomps his foot in anger. But nothing can be done. Just keep wandering around looking for it. And now Bruce came to a waterlogged cypress grove. He thinks his hybrid snake must exist here. But then a python appeared. But when you catch the snake tail, the snakes kept biting us. But the good thing about Bruce is that he keeps pulling. After catching the snake in his hand, Bruce didn't know what to do, did he? After all, he doesn't have a bag right now. But this cunning snake, it's actually starting to wrap around Bruce. Luckily, Zach and Bill got here, got Bruce out of trouble. After putting the snake in the bag, Bruce was about to high-five, but Zach said no. It's all because Bruce is so dirty. After nightfall, the hunters are together again, looking for that nasty bastard snake. But after some searching, I just saw a half-built house, and the broken bones all over the floor. And the bones are huge. They all look like mammal bones. And it's weird here. There were strange noises coming out. Then Troy let out a sigh of wonder. But when the crowd arrived, they found it turned out to be a python. Bill was eager to fight. And that's exactly what the python wants. It's just a bite. But it didn't hit. Instead, it was completely surrounded by people. Looking at such a ferocious python, Bill immediately thought it was a hybrid snake. Because this snake is so aggressive. It's also very flexible. It's a perfect cross between a rock python and a Burmese python. But unfortunately, he only has one head. Can't face so many people at once. It's only a matter of time before they get caught. The hunters keep testing him from the side, constantly harassing the snake's eyes. Keeps it on the alert. But it also gave Zach an opportunity. He just grabbed me right into his hands. But the snake didn't seem willing, constantly struggling with Zach. But it's no use in front of people. Can only be observed in the hands of the public. Look at those unusual teeth. And that beautiful snake print. Although in the process, the hybrid snake is still struggling. But it was still in the bag. And a fierce snake like this. Quite a few in this swamp. Is that why, Bill? We must catch the reason for this python. Then the crowd began to return. When the sun comes up, to celebrate the success of the python hunt. The hunters started the party. It's not just charred grilled iguanas and fried alligator meat. Although this iguana meat doesn't look like much, does it? But they ate it with gusto. Well, that's all for this program. Give it a thumbs up, and let's look forward to the next episode.